Hello, my name's Patrick O'Brien, and I'm the voice behind the film that's been brought to you this season from New Sonic Creations. What you're watching is, we believe, the first attempt that's been made, and I do stress attempt, to piece together what we would describe as a yearbook. But it's a yearbook that's actually on cassette. What you'll be seeing is all the best action that has been shown down here at the bridge this season, and unfortunately, if you're a Chelsea fan, some of the bad action as well. As events will unfold, no doubt you'll make your own minds up as to whether it was a successful season or not. Let's just cast our minds back to last August time. Chelsea going into the new season, having finished in the top 6, one of their highest places for some number of years, and they were the winners of the Full Members' Cup. The front line that they had was Speedy, Dixon and Pat Nevin, all internationals, and clearly there was enough talent in the Chelsea front line to suggest that better times were ahead for Chelsea fans. Indeed, many people felt that the Chelsea team at this stage was indeed the best side to be put together on paper since the days of Osgood Hutchinson, Charlie Cook and Alan Hudson in the cup-winning days of the 1970s. As events unfolded over the first 3 months, who would have possibly believed what was about to happen? Who would have believed it? The date is September the 6th, and the first action we'll be showing you on this tape is the visit of Luton Town. But before we go through the goals, let's just go back to the very first match of the season, where we had Norwich City as the visitors. Ended up as a goalless draw, and Chelsea got off the mark with the first point of the season. They then went to Oxford United, where they registered another draw, this time drawing 1-1. They then travelled up to Sheffield Wednesday, losing this time 2-0. And then we had the visit of Coventry City to Stamford Bridge, which was ending up to be a very frustrating 0-0 draw. So Chelsea going into the Luton Town match, still looking for their first goal of the season. How long did we have to wait for that?
And Dixon turn. Once again, very good sharp turn by Dixon. Catching deflection on the way. And the ball running out for a corner. Murphy with a kick. McLaughlin up. And Dixon comes clipped, and it's in! Dixon's off the mark! And there is one very, very happy man. Very clearly well-directed header by Kerry Dixon. Nice to see him snapping that one up. 2 or 3 chances he's had this half, albeit both half chances, but perhaps that's his first clear-cut opportunity.
So Kerry Dixon getting Chelsea off the mark in the 1986-87 season. But for many people, they're a bit concerned about Dixon. Had he had too much football after his visit down to Mexico with the England party? He went all that way and only figured, I believe, in 6 minutes of actual live action. So Chelsea getting off to a bit of a quiet start in front of goal, but there's Dixon getting his first goal. Was he back to his old, sharp, former self?
Now, will this spark Chelsea into further goals? And certainly Dixon, for my money this afternoon, has got a bit of a spring in his step. And once again, Dixon winning that in the air well. And a and he cracks the crossbar. And that goal mouth attempt resembled more of American football rather than soccer. Whole of the Chelsea forward line.
So that was the beginning of Kerry Dixon's bad luck, and by and large he had a very misfortunate season, and by his very high standards, one that he won't look back with as being one of the most successful of his career. I asked Ken Bates at the end of the season what he realistically expected Chelsea to achieve over this season. I have a gentleman with me who needs no introduction if you're a Chelsea supporter. It's, of course, Mr. Ken Bates. And what we're going to do is ask him his impressions of how the season's gone. But before we ask him that, I'd like to, if we can, cast our minds back to last August time and ask you, Ken, on the balance of things, what were you really expecting to achieve this season?
Well, I expected us to be in contention for the championship and very near Wembley in all 3 competitions. It was as simple and as high as that. We'd strengthened the team in the close season. We spent a lot of money because we had criticism the previous year that we didn't have any strength in depth. And we went out and bought Wegerle, McNaught, Jury, Wicks. We signed Godden, thinking therefore we'd have a much stronger squad than we had the previous year.
So there we have it. There's Ken Bates speaking very much with the benefit of hindsight. And if we go back to that Chelsea match against Luton, let's just remind ourselves of really Chelsea had some dreadful luck, both from injuries as well as the opposition getting some rather very lucky goals, as illustrated by this Mike Newell goal.
Ricky Hill doing enough to turn well. Good challenge there by McLaughlin. Newell. Oh! And Newell won't get a lucky goal.
And there you saw the softest goal of the season seen at Stamford Bridge. A wicked deflection going around Tony Godden. And that put Luton on level terms with Chelsea just on the stroke of half-time.
Committed prior to the deflection. Going one way on the ball.
So clearly a bit of good luck for Luton and not such good luck for Chelsea. But what was to follow? Even more good luck for Luton, and a very bad injury coming up for Colin Pates as Luton get their second goal of the match.
Wicked clearance there by Pates. Newell in the open, and he's put it away for number 2 for Luton.
And as Mike Newell buried that goal, poor Colin Pates was lying flat on his back, and this is what followed.
10 men of Chelsea against 11 of Luton.
So Chelsea losing a second goal and their skipper, but worse was to follow. Immediately from this goal kick, Luton go up the other end. The Chelsea left back Miller gets injured, and it's goal number 3 for Luton.
And Miller down with an injury, so Chelsea reduced to 2 back players. Speedy filling the gap, and Steen picking his spot very well. And
so quite clearly a very bad day from Chelsea's point of view. And that was the final score. Chelsea 1, Luton 3, and Chelsea ending up with 10 fit men and a lot of wounded pride. The next Chelsea match saw them travel all the way up to North London to visit Tottenham Hotspurs, and what a result they registered there, winning away by 3-1, and the goals coming from 2 from Mike Hazard and 1 from Kerry Dixon. So 3 very useful points for Chelsea, and they were needing to be in their very best form for the next visit, which was Nottingham Forest down at the Bridge. And what a game that turned out to be, and what some excellent goals and action we had in prospect.
Player up against him today in number 7 Franz Carr, and he won't be wanted to take any chances. And that's number 1 for Forest. And it's the man Neil Webb who can do no wrong at this moment, scoring yet again. Now Dixon against Metcod. Will he try and go around him? He is. Ball cut inside to Nevin. And that's 1-1. Very good play by Chelsea. And very good play particularly by Kerry Dixon. Speedy up. Finding Jones to Mickey Hazard. Speedy again to Bumstead. Shot, and it's there for number 2 for Chelsea. Brilliant move by the Blues. Carr on the break. Faced by Miller for Chelsea. Now can Carr go around him? He can. Cross in. And that's another brilliant goal. This time, number 10, Gary Birtles. And, switches it to Franz Carr. Faced by Miller. Setting up Webb. And it's number 3 for Forest. It's that man Webb again. And once again, excellent move from Forest. McLaughlin coming over to Birtles, and that's number 4 for Forest. Pates up well, and Bowyer making that his for Forest. To Webb in space, to Clough. To Webb in space again, and he scores unchallenged. And that's Webb's hat-trick of the afternoon. And once again, a brilliantly constructed move there for Forest. Another very, very fast winger. Howard sticking with him well. Clough in a bit of space. Looking for a bit of support, goes for the middle. And Pates pulls him down. And that was a penalty decision. And I'm afraid this isn't fun for Chelsea supporters anymore. Well, we've got number 8, Neil Webb, has scored his hat-trick. Gary Birtles has scored 2 this afternoon. He's lining himself up for this penalty. Can he make it his hat-trick? He can. Clinically puts it away in the corner.
So Chelsea coming second best on the day on what was really a fine game of football. Final score was Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forest 6. What excellent value for money they were.
And so the scoreline now is Chelsea 2, Dan Wood, 3 Doug Rugby, 4 Colin Pates, their captain, 5 Joe McLaughlin, 6 Nigel.
Following that Forest result, Chelsea travelled away to York City in the League Cup, and they lost that one 1-0. And then they travelled up to mighty Old Trafford, and again they registered a super victory, winning by 1-0, and a great goal it was too from Kerry Dixon. So the next match down at the Bridge, full of expectancy from the Chelsea faithful, Charlton Athletic. Surely Chelsea would do well against them.
Number 11 for Charlton is Colin Walsh. Worth pointing out.
And what proved to be, by and large, a very dull match. The only goal of the game actually was registered by Charlton, and what a goal it was.
Well won by Hazelwood. Robert Lee going on, chipping Godden, and that's a beautiful goal, straight in the corner. And that all came about.
And on the strength of that goal, the morale at the Bridge was pretty low, and it moved the reporter from the Guardian newspaper to report that the Chelsea manager Johnny Hollins is now watching this product, which he reported as a video nasty.
Pat Nevin, can he turn?
So for a change of position tonight, this match was filmed from the East Stand at Chelsea, so it may appear that everything's back to front. And this action is Chelsea in the Littlewoods Cup, second round against York City. And here we see Kerry Dixon popping up for his first goal of the night, and to even the tie 1-1.
And Kerry Dixon getting on the end of it. And spoke just a few seconds too soon. That's 1-0 to Chelsea.
And 2 more goals were to follow, and here they are.
Steve Wicks with the decoy run to the near post. Good early cross to Nevin. And that's number 2 for Chelsea. Goal scorer, number 9, Kerry Dixon again. noughts in the break for Chelsea. Only faced by the goalie, crossover to McAllister, and it's number 3. And very, very good play by McNaught.
So Chelsea safely through to the next round of the Cup.
Sensibly picking out McAllister away to get... Again, cross in.
The next match Chelsea were to feature at down at the Bridge was Manchester City. The date was October the 18th. Chelsea still to register their first home victory of the season, and goals a little bit difficult to come by as far as league form is concerned. Previous week they'd been at West Ham and had scored 3 but had run out on the balance of play 5 goals to 3 losers. So much expected from this afternoon's match, and Chelsea did indeed register their first win.
Verratti in space. Oh, and he's put it in. Wrong foot in Tony Gordon. Very, very good turn by Imre Verratti.
So 1-0 to City, and Chelsea yet to reply.
With first pass shots. Wrong footing brought to the ground by Clive Wilson.
The match is now in the second half. Mickey Hazard has come on as a substitute, and watch this goal coming up from him.
Mickey Hazard in space, moving forward. Trying one, and it's straight in the corner. Brilliant goal by Mickey Hazard.
So that made the scores 1-1, and the winner coming up right now.
Super sub, Mickey Hazard doing it for Chelsea. Mickey Hazard, the Chelsea scorer. Touch in to Dixon. And that's number 2 for Chelsea, and John Bumster's got it.
So there we had it, the first home victory in the league for Chelsea. 3 valuable points, and perhaps a mood of optimism setting in at last.
Planting it across the middle of that City goal and picking out number 6.
So Chelsea with their first home victory of the season in the league. Their next match took them away to Arsenal, where they ran out second best, losing by 3 goals to 1. The following match they played against was Cardiff City in the Littlewoods Cup, and they were knocked out by 2 goals to 1. The next home match down at the Bridge was Watford, a pretty disappointing 0-0 draw in front of a 13,000 crowd. They then travelled north to Everton, a happy hunting ground for Chelsea over the last few years, and they got a 2-2 draw, so a very, very valuable point indeed, and that took the tally to 14 points for the season. The following week they made their way to the Midlands, and they got a 0-0 draw against Aston Villa. The points tally 15. The match that followed next at the Bridge was Newcastle United, and here we see Gordon Durie getting his first goal for the club at the Bridge.
Another Chelsea throw. In fact, the referee's given a free kick there for a foul on Rugby by Stevenson. So Nevin to take this one. Tries to float one towards Durie. And a beautiful cross and header there. Great goal there by Gordon Durie. Really left his marker. Managed to get in a diving header to open the scoring for Chelsea. Lovely cross floated over there by Pat Nevin.
So Chelsea getting their noses in front for once, and unfortunately Newcastle came back to score these 3 goals.
McDonald trying to put Newcastle through now. Thomas with the shot, and it's there to Beardsley. This could be dangerous for Chelsea, and it's there. Well, the ball broke loose just outside the Chelsea penalty area there. Ball play forward, runs to Goddard. Right on the edge of the Chelsea area now. This could be dangerous. Ball play through. And it's there. Well, that looked like a very soft goal, I must say. How Chelsea defenders let that one through.
Soft goal maybe, but there's Peter Beardsley making it 3-1 for Newcastle. And so, yet another disappointing day down at the Bridge. Still only one home victory to show in the league this season. The next Chelsea fixture was away at West Ham United, where Chelsea, defending the Full Members' Cup, played West Ham and ran out 2-1 victors. Goal scorers on that occasion, Nigel Spackman and Kerry Dixon. The next league match was away at Leicester City. Match ended in a 2-2 draw, and that took Chelsea to 16 points for the season. But unfortunately, they're languishing at 21st position in the table. So going into today's match, which is December the 6th, we've got Wimbledon as visitors. And how could Chelsea shape up against their West London rivals? And what a match this turned out as far as Wimbledon are concerned. They got off to a real flyer, scoring the first goal of the match after only 2 minutes from this corner.
Wimbledon supporters come to follow their team. And clearly there's a club very much on the up. First corner of the match to them. In it comes. Fashanu goes up and gets it. And that's number 1 for Wimbledon. Fashanu heading in unattended in the 6-yard box. And a dream beginning for Wimbledon.
So an excellent start for Wimbledon, their first visit to Stamford Bridge. And they promptly followed up with this goal, coming in 10 minutes.
Opening up for him, and a shot. And that's number 2 for Wimbledon. Brilliantly taken goal by Fairweather.
By this time, Chelsea defence a little bit rattled, and we began to see a little bit of an unsavoury incident on the pitch, which saw Doug Rugby being sent off, at which point Chelsea were reduced to 10 players, and Wimbledon struck for their 3rd goal of the afternoon.
And that's number 3 for Wimbledon. Unbelievable play by Chelsea there at the back.
But more was to follow when Wimbledon completed the rout in the second half.
And Chelsea clearly throwing caution to the wind, throwing everything they've got at attack whenever they can, and cruelly left exposed there. Corner comes in, and that is number 4 this time for Wimbledon. And this time it's number 4, Jones is the scorer.
So a very disappointing result there from Chelsea's point of view, and I wonder what the bookmakers' odds were on predicting the correct score of this match before it started. Still, things could only get better, but could they? Chelsea's next match was due to be Liverpool away, and what a match that was in prospect. The match at Anfield saw Chelsea losing out by 3-0, which was televised for all to see on live television. The following league match at the Bridge was one of the big matches of the season, the visit of Tottenham Hotspurs, where 21,500 people joined us to watch what was billed as a feast of football, and plenty of very good talent on display from the Tottenham side. At this time, the newspapers in general were giving Chelsea a hard time, and there seemed to be general dissent in the camp from a number of the players. So, all in all, things looking not too bright for Chelsea, either on or off the park. Could they make amends on the pitch today by turning tails on Tottenham Hotspurs? And Tottenham coming into this match with their 5-man midfield formation, where Glenn Hoddle was particularly prominent. But of course, they also had the explosive finishing skills of Clive Allen.
And it's Allen now in the break. Clive Allen shoots, and that's number 1 for Tottenham. A real Clive Allen bullet.
What a beautifully made goal that was from Glenn Hoddle. But more was to follow, and number 2 for Tottenham came up in the following manner.
And a lovely touch inside to Waddle again. Dances round. Oh, that's number 2 for Spurs, and it's that man Clive Allen again. Beautifully worked goal from Spurs.
And Clive Allen went on to score 49 goals. Quite an astounding feat in this modern day and age. So, Chelsea losing 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspurs. And then we came to Christmas and all stopped. But that's really where Chelsea season actually started. I asked Ken Bates what was his feelings around about this time, with only 16 points on the board, and things not looking too bright either on or off the pitch. He gave me this answer. If someone had actually asked you before Christmas, before the new season actually started, Ken, come Christmas time you're going to have about 16, 17 points, would you have recommended they go to the nearest asylum?
No, because everybody's got their own ideas. One thing I did know is when we had 16 or 17 points, I knew we wouldn't finish up in the bottom. Some people recommended I should go to the asylum at that particular stage, but I think I've been proven right.
Well, it's Christmas time now, and Chelsea fans all over the country were wondering whether to put their heads or the turkey in the oven. Things were looking pretty grim. They're at the foot of the table, but better things were in prospect for the remainder of the season. Chelsea's good fortune began to turn on the away trip to Southampton. Went down there as very much the underdogs and pulled off a very good victory, winning by 2-1. Then carried on to see if they could rediscover the good form, and Aston Villa were the visitors. And this time Chelsea rediscovered their goal touch, and they ran out 4-1 victors with these following goals.
Now Dixon up, nice touch on to Speedy, looking for Nevin, and that's a penalty. A most peculiar foul if ever I've seen one. Martin Keown chasing Pat Nevin, in fact overtaken him, managed to trip him up as he ran for the same ball, and absolutely no danger at all there. So could this be a bit of a, what I would call the rub of the green for Chelsea? Penalty for them. So Nigel Spackman lining this kick up. Blasts it, and straight at the roof of the nets. So plenty of tall men on both sides in that Aston Villa area now. Rogel with a kick. Speedy up. And that's number 2 for Chelsea. And it's Kerry Dixon. So Roy Wedgwood with a kick for Chelsea. And that's number 3 for Chelsea. And it's the skipper Colin Pates rising high at the far post to put that one away. Good touch on by Wedgell to Speedy. Hang round his marker, cross in, Dixon up, and that's number 4 for Chelsea. And the partnership of Speedy and Dixon does it. And I think Speedy is even happier than Dixon at that conversion.
So maximum points from 2 games. Could Chelsea make it 3 in a row for the visit of Queen's Park Rangers? And what a match that turned out to be, with one of the very best first half performances shown by Chelsea in the whole season. What a victory it was. An overlap type situation. Bit of a slice there from Niedzwiecki. Good challenge there from Keith Dublin. Ball breaks to Dixon. Ball still with Chelsea. McNaught, and that's number 1 for Chelsea. Speedy up well. To Dixon, back to Speedy again. Oh, and that's number 2 to Chelsea. Brilliantly struck goal by Joel McNaught. And that was excellent forward play. Combination play between Speedy and Dixon. And a beautiful interchange of passes between those two before they slipped the ball back to Joel McNaught. And what a bullet he put in the net there. Speedy well up there. Look at that for a pass to Nevin. Still with Speedy. He'll get his cross in. Can to Speed to Nevin. And Wedgley with number 3 for Chelsea. And that went right under Dixon's foot. And that's Roy Wedgley's first goal in senior football for Chelsea. Interesting to note Colin Pates looking up from that position and trying to set away his forward straight away. Now Byrne. And he's got it in. That's number 1 for Rangers. And very, very good play there from Johnny Byrne indeed. So maximum points, 3 games, 9 points. And Chelsea now pulled themselves up to 16th position in the table. And the gloom has lifted from Stamford Bridge. The next match was away to Luton, where expectations were running high, but unfortunately Chelsea ran out second best on the day, losing by 1-0 on the plastic pitch. Away from the league, it was time to have a go at the FA Cup, where Chelsea have fared pretty successfully over the seasons. And the first journey took Chelsea away to Aston Villa in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. They were winning by 2-1 with just a few minutes remaining, but eventually they were pegged back and a draw was the final outcome. The replay down at the bridge saw some really fine action, which turned out to be one of the best nights of the whole season. What a night that was with these goals. So, corner kick to be taken by Mark Walters. Oh, and that's number 1 for Villa. And Steve Hunt scored. And that was quite a bad goal from Chelsea's point of view. Flick on at the near post. That's a wasted cross. And the action now takes us into the second half. There's just over the hour gone, and Chelsea have brought on their substitute, who is Mickey Hazard. And this action was to follow. One of the great saves of the season down at the bridge. Now Sainward for Villa. Setting himself up. But good experience there to Walters. Oh, what a shot there. And is this number 2? Brilliantly saved there. And excellent play by Eddie Niedzwiecki and Keith Dublin getting that one away. That really was a brilliant clearance. So very nearly number 2 there for Aston Villa. But what was to follow? One of the great goals of the season. And belted clear from Jury. Speedy to Jury. Can he go the whole way? And that's it! That's the equaliser! Brilliant goal from Gordon Jury! What a goal and what a time to score a goal! So at the end of 90 minutes, it was all square
on his way for the middle here.
and everything to fight for. In we went to extra time, and it developed into the Jury and Hazard show.
Ball breaks for Mickey Hazard. Sweeps it out a long way to Gordon Jury. And Gordon Jury putting it past Evans, crossing the middle. Oh, still danger. And the referee's given a penalty. Gordon Jury went around, looks like Alan Evans. Evans stuck out a foot, and that was enough, says the referee. And really, this penetrating run-in by Gordon Jury has been a revelation. And the Villa players contesting this decision, but I somehow feel that Alan Evans, who the guy put the foot out, doesn't feel too bitter about that. So, a golden opportunity for Chelsea to get their nose in front for the first time tonight. Mickey Hazard lines up. And there it is! Perfectly taken penalty kick from Mickey Hazard, straight in the corner. Chelsea supporters are up everywhere, and Chelsea are back in business. 13 minutes into extra time, they go into the front for the first time tonight by 2-1.
And that was the final score. Terrific night's entertainment. Chelsea thoroughly deserving their victory. And what a good performance that was from both Mickey Hazard and Gordon Jury. The joy was short-lived, and the next match Chelsea took part in was away to Norwich, where they drew 2 each. So a very valuable point there. And then it was away to Watford in the 4th round of the Cup, and unfortunately losing out 1-0 on the day. The next match at the Bridge was Sheffield Wednesday, Chelsea winning 2-0 with these goals.
And that looks like a penalty, and yes, the referee's pointed to the spots. Absolutely no complaints by the Sheffield Wednesday defence. As he made his mind up, blasts it, and there it is, number 1 for Chelsea. Chapman heading on, but Clark doing well. Nice turn there from Hazard. To Spackman, good supporting play this from Chelsea. Spackman again. To Jury, cross in. And that's an own goal coming in there from Madden. So number 2 for Chelsea. But good build-up play. Dixon turns.
So 3 more points from Sheffield Wednesday. The next team at the Bridge was Oxford United. And this was one of the matches where Chelsea really put on the style. 4 really good goals coming up.
Lots of skillful players on show here from Chelsea. But move still with Chelsea. Jury going around his defender. And yes, that's a penalty. The referee right on the spots. And it looked like number 3, John Dreyer, bringing him down. And really, Gordon Jury in what I can only describe as a purple patch with regard to getting penalty decisions. But full marks to him. He's head down when he gets the ball, straight for goal, and defenders are sticking out that last foot and causing untold damage. So Mickey Hazard on the spots. And there it is! The roar goes up round the bridge, and Mickey Hazard puts number 1 in the back of the net for Chelsea. Keith Dublin, good game he's having. Mickey Hazard. Oh, what a ball from Hazard to Dixon. Dixon turning, still with Dixon. Lays it back to Jury, and that's number 2. Brilliant goal from Chelsea. Brilliantly conceived goal. Once again, good move there from Chelsea. Now Dixon on the charge. Caton. And Dixon, and he's got it! Number 3 it is from Chelsea. Brave header there from Kerry Dixon. To Nevin. Spackman to Hazard. Oh, and a beautiful ball there from Hazard. And this has got to be number 4. Oh, it's still there. And that is it. Pat Nevin burying it in the back of the Oxford goal. But what a beautiful move from Chelsea again. Mickey Hazard, as soon as he saw the ball coming his way, he told Keith Dublin exactly what he wanted to do. Dublin duly
So,
obliged.
4-0 to Chelsea, and the best victory by a significant scoreline of the season. On the strength of that performance, could Chelsea fear anybody? Well, they went away to Coventry for the next match, and a very, very disappointing performance indeed, and they lost that one 3-0. Which took us to the next match at the Bridge, which was the classic encounter with Manchester United. The visit of Manchester United, of course, is always a very well-attended event. This particular match was to illustrate the point that Chelsea's luck was certainly in. And there's one or two very controversial points here where you'll see that Chelsea did very well indeed to get a point out of this match.
Now there's a break on here. 3 against 3, quickly played into Stapleton. To Gibson. Oh, and he's hit the post. And it's come out.
And for those of you with the benefit of slow motion, I can guarantee if you play that back, you'll see it was definitely a goal, and the commentator was wrong. So, one that got away from Manchester United's point of view.
But what a fantastic shot there from Terry Gibson. Steve Clark.
Well, Chelsea's luck was certainly in, but the first goal of the afternoon was to go to Manchester United, which what I commented on was a dubious penalty decision. In fact, it was a definite penalty decision.
Oh, no, unbelievable. This looks like a penalty has been awarded to United for... Oh, I didn't quite see that incident. Looked like someone was trying to turn or was upended or being held back. But the referee, to be fair to him, very well placed, right on the spots. So, penalty it is to Manchester United. Opportunity for them to break the deadlock. And what a golden opportunity this is for Peter Davenport. Davenport against Tony Godden. And there it is. Number 1 for the afternoon to United. And Peter Davenport on the mark for them.
So Chelsea trailing by 1 goal, but their luck was still in. And this was an amazing clearance off the line by Jerry Murphy.
Robson to Gibson. And that's... Oh, and it's off the line by Murphy. How did that stay out? Brian Robson can't believe that.
So Chelsea's luck definitely in, but they're still trailing by 1-0. And then came this.
Dixon to Pat Nevin. Nevin trying to go around Duxbury. And that's it, the equaliser. Mickey Hazard there, but brilliant play by Pat Nevin. That was real magic. Absolute sheer magic. What a chip cross. When he looked like he lost it as he was running through, Duxbury nicked it off him.
So a point won there, and Chelsea would be very grateful to have got out of that match with a draw.
Mickey Hazard to volley in from about 6 yards.
You'll recall earlier in the season, the heaviest defeat Chelsea suffered was at the hands of Nottingham Forest. What a match that turned out to be. And now it's Chelsea's turn to travel up to Nottingham for the return match. So, everyone expecting Chelsea to be on the wrong end of a defeat again, and how wrong they were. Pat Nevin scoring the winner. 1-0 to Chelsea and another 3 points in the bag. It's now March, and Chelsea, having had a few months off from the Full Members' Cup, which they were defending,
they were drawn away to Blackburn Rovers. With what was largely a makeshift side for the day, they ran out very disappointing losers by 3-0, and so the grip on that trophy was released. By Colin Pates for Chelsea.
Arsenal were the next visitors down at the Bridge, and Chelsea had a really reorganised front line for this match. It saw the appearance for the first time of a very diminutive Colin West wearing the number 10 shirt, and what fireworks he provided for us. You'll have noticed that all the matches that you've been watching so far have been filmed from the West Stand. Now for this match, this is coming from the East Stand. How about this for a goal?
Colin West on his way for Chelsea. Only the goalie to beat, and it's number 1 for Chelsea. Colin West blasting it past Lukic. And what a complete foul-up that was by David O'Leary. Had the easiest of opportunities to put it out for a throw-in. But instead, I'm not sure if he was trying to cut it inside to Tony Adams.
And that was as many goals as there was for the whole afternoon. Chelsea getting the 3 points, winning by 1-0. And one must remember that at that time, Arsenal were flying very high. They'd just beaten Tottenham and had qualified for the Littlewood Cup final. So a very, very fine victory for Chelsea indeed.
Chelsea had the opportunity to pull off their first double of the season with the visit to Main Road. You'll recall, of course, earlier in the season, Chelsea registered their first victory in the league here at the Bridge, beating Manchester City by 2-1. They were to repeat the trick by going up to Main Road and winning by 2-1 again. So, maximum points from City. The next London derby to feature here at the Bridge was West Ham United, complete with the Irish-Italian Liam Brady, making his return to Stamford Bridge after many seasons' absence. Of course, you recall he used to play for Arsenal in his earlier days down here. Could Chelsea carry on their good run here at the Bridge? They certainly could with this victory.
So corner kick to be taken by Pat Nevin. Oh, and confusion in that West Ham defence. All cannoning off of Phil Park's chest. Crossing again, Jury up. This time it's Steve Wicks. Trying to turn, cross in. Hazard, and beaten away. And that's it! Number 1 for Chelsea! And it looks like the score is Pat Nevin. After 2 very good efforts went in, the ball eventually found its way to Pat Nevin. So 1 goal was enough on the day. 3 more points in the bag for Chelsea. And they're now sitting at 11th position in the First Division, their highest placing throughout the whole season.
By now the championship race was reaching a climax, and Everton were the next team to come down to the Bridge, and what a reputation they brought with them. Runners-up in the league last season and champions the previous season, and right at this point in time they're challenging for pole position. Oh, beautiful turn there from Heath.
We pick up the action in the first half. Some really good football so far, but no score to show.
So delightful play there from Adrian Heath, holding the ball up well until support arrived. Alan Harper with the corner for Everton. Oh, and that's number 1. And it looks very much to me like an own goal from Joe McLaughlin. Real confusion in that Chelsea defence.
So Everton going into a 1-0 lead. Pretty well against the run of play. But was some excellent football we were watching.
So 23 minutes. Short one. Mickey Hazard again. Whoops, got himself confused. Still with Hazard. Cross coming in. Hit by Clark. Darren Wood defending well. Holding off Ratcliffe. And that's fed through. And that's the equaliser! And it's Kerry Dixon! And what a brilliant bit of play that was from Darren Wood. Looking for Jones.
So 1-1 at the moment, but what Everton were about to show us is the reason why they were going to become League Division 1 champions. Brilliant save at one end and straight up the other end to get the winner.
So corner kick to Chelsea, Pat Nevin to take it. McLaughlin up, knock on. Oh, and a brilliant save by Southall. Point blank save from Kerry Dixon. And off we go again, Everton charging this time. Ratcliffe up supporting the forwards this time. Power on the overlap. And what a brilliant save that was from Neville Southall. Absolutely super save. Alan Harper, a bit of space here, shots. Oh, and what a goal that was from Alan Harper. Absolutely brilliant shots. And what about that for a balance of play, switching from one end to the other.
So a great shot there from Alan Harper, but more was to come.
Everton 2. And what a first-class match this is.
So Alan Harper's got his shooting boots on, and we were about to have take two.
Now Chelsea are going to have to commit players forward, but here's Everton with Peter Reid. Cutting inside, laying it back. Here's Harper again. Wallop! Oh, and he's hit the bar. Oh, and another brilliant save. And Steve Clark with a diving header away. It's still with Everton. Alan Harper again to Paul Power. Deep cross in. And only a minute left.
So another near miss for Everton, but they weren't finished, and like true champions, they came looking for a third goal.
Ratcliffe away. Points and up the line. Now Adrian Heath again. Heath laying it back to Reid, and that's a, well, I think that's a pretty poor bit of refereeing decision there. It certainly was a free kick, and certainly was a free kick inside the box against Peter Reid, and certainly should have allowed advantage, but apart from those three things, he got it perfectly right. He's awarded a free kick just on the edge of the Chelsea area, which I think is pretty poor. So right at the death here, there's 90 minutes showing on the clock. Free kick to Everton. And beautiful save there from Godden.
And that was the final score. Everton 2, Chelsea 1. And we were really treated to some fine football from both sides, and Everton thoroughly deserving their victory. Next match down at Stamford Bridge was Southampton. But before we bring you the action from this match, just to bring you up to date on 3 away fixtures. Starting away at Charlton, Chelsea drawing 0-0, but another point safely secured. The next match was away to Watford, and Chelsea coming second again this season, and they lost this time 3-1. Goal scorer was Keith Jones. And the final away match was down the road at Loftus Road against Queen's Park Rangers, and Chelsea drawing 1-1 and they had Roger Freestone in goal for the first time this season, and the scorer making his debut was indeed John Cody. So back with the current match on your screen is Chelsea against Southampton, and Pat Nevin just about to strike for Chelsea.
Mickey Hazard lines up the free kick, and away we go. Here's Colin Pates, chip in, Dixon, Nevin, and that's it! Number 1 to Chelsea. Goal scorer Pat Nevin. Delightful chip in there from placed by the diminutive but very, very fast Colin West.
So the Southampton equaliser coming in right now to level the scores 1-1.
Oh, look at that, it's a goal. Goal all the way, and it's Colin Clark's got it.
And that was the final score. Point shared.
Went up for that one, free header at the
And Chelsea now sitting on 13th position in the league table. Leicester City in deep relegation trouble were the next visitors down to the bridge, and a few goals on view here. But just to bring you up to date with one of the last away matches of the season, Chelsea travelled to St James's Park, Newcastle, and they lost that one 1-0, so Newcastle did the double over Chelsea. Back to the action, but prior to watching the goals, the boys in blue are going to feature now. What a fine job they've done for Chelsea this season. Very, very little crowd trouble at all.
And the referee seems to be discreetly telling both players that they are nicked. And talking about getting nicked, you will notice we've got a very, very strong contingent of the boys in blue taking up a position as if they are ready to attack. And even as I speak, there's even more reinforcements arriving. And very smart too they look. Well, perhaps that challenge on the pitch was perhaps a bit more sinister than I saw. But, plenty of help on hand if needed.
And back to the action. Chelsea going to a 1-0 lead with this goal.
Oh, nicely off there from Darren Wood. A real chance, Dixon, and he's buried it. And good work there between Darren Wood and Steve Clark to set that opportunity up. Steve Clark.
Leicester got straight back in the match from the kick-off in the second half, and more goals were to follow.
And welcome back, and we're ready to go with the second half. And for this half we've got Chelsea defending the goal away to the left of our commentary position. And if you need reminding, it's Chelsea 1, Leicester 0. And the duel between Darren Wood and Mocklin, I think Darren Wood shading it on point so far. Now Alan Smith charging through, and he's got past Wicks. Smith, and he's buried it. And very sloppy defensive play there from Steve Wicks, allowing Alan Smith to latch on. And Alan Smith absolutely... Now a break on here, Jury. Over the goalie's head, and it's number 2 for Chelsea. And a real defensive mix-up caused that goal. Now a break on here, here's Kerry Dixon. Only the goalie to beat, and he's got it. And I must say a very strong suspicion of offside about that one. But a lovely ball there from Colin West. The Leicester City defence just wasn't there, and Kerry Dixon running through.
So another victory for Chelsea and another 3 points. Unfortunately for Leicester, that was the end of their existence in the first division, and for them it was relegation.
So we came to the last match of the season here at the Bridge, and what a match it turned out to be. The arrival of Liverpool brought, of course, Ian Rush, who was playing his last game for the Reds. And what a travelling band of fans that Liverpool brought with them for the occasion. Of course, he got his inevitable goal, but I don't suppose that was too unexpected, and I suppose very few people were disappointed that he actually got away with that. But the goals Chelsea scored that follow now were really something out of the textbook. Cody up well, there's a break on, here's Dave Speedy, only the goalie to beat, picks his spots, and brilliantly saved by Hooper. So 2 golden opportunities.
Chelsea coming into this match having just been beaten by Wimbledon at Plough Lane for the second time of the season.
And that's Kerry Dixon being mauled
and quite possibly the best free kick of the season down at Chelsea. coming up right now.
I'm sure Speedy couldn't believe his luck there. That really was most uncharacteristic of this Liverpool back line. So opportunity for Chelsea now. Free kick, about 25 yards out. And we've got Gordon Jury lining it up. Letting fly, it's a good one, and it's in! What a shot from Gordon Jury! And to the best of my recollection, that's the first free kick I've actually seen him take all season down here at the Bridge. And what a shot that was! Absolutely gave the goalie no chance. Beautifully worked free kick from Chelsea. Number of players standing in the... They play them. And here's Molby for Liverpool. Aldridge turning well into Rush, and he's got it! Ian Rush has scored. And what a well-worked goal that was from Liverpool. Beautifully set up for him by John Aldridge. And there's your man, the main man, Ian Rush, in the right place at the right time yet again. With 9 minutes gone, it's Chelsea 1, Liverpool 1.
And how about this for a save from the new boy Roger Freestone to keep Chelsea on level terms.
Oh, there's a mistake there by McLaughlin. Letting in Aldridge. To Rush. Shot. Oh, and well saved there by Freestone. Now Dublin. Looking up for supports. Jury to Cody. Here's Dixon. Laying it back to Jury. Cross in. And a beautiful goal. What a brilliant goal from Johnny Bumstead. Absolutely brilliant stuff. That is one of the best moves I've seen down here all season. There's Molby. Shot. Oh, he's hit the post. Oh, and Ian Rush has missed a sitter. Hanson. To Venison. Hanson again. Oh, and that's it. Steve McMahon snatched the equaliser for Liverpool. Beautifully worked goal. Set up by Alan Hansen, and then Steve McMahon bravely diving in. Well cut out by Johnny Bumstead. Now, here goes Chelsea with Cody. Speedy. Dixon asking for it. Oh, and what a goal from David Speedy! Absolutely fantastic goal. Oh, beautiful ball there from Hansen. Here's Ronnie Whelan. Cross in. Ian Rush there. He's got it. It's got to be the equaliser, and it is! John Aldridge has got it. What a game this is. Another well-worked move there from Liverpool, building it up gently. And then it broke for John Aldridge. What a game this is. Chelsea 3, Liverpool 3.
So Chelsea finishing on a high, drawing 3 goals each with Liverpool. And those 3 super goals were something to remember. The season finished with Chelsea with 52 points on the board, which was quite an achievement when you consider that Christmas Day they only had 16.
Certainly from our point of view, the season started from Christmas onwards, and we certainly enjoyed the second half of the season significantly more than the first half. I asked both Ken Bates and John Hollins after the Liverpool match what their impressions of the season were. They gave me the following answers.
I have a gentleman with me who needs no introduction if you're a Chelsea supporter. It's, of course, Mr. Ken Bates. And what we're going to do is ask him his impressions of how the season's gone. But before we ask him that, I'd like to, if we can, cast our minds back to last August time and ask you, Ken, on the balance of things, what were you really expecting to achieve this season?
Well, I expected us to be in contention for the Championship and very near Wembley in all three competitions. It was as simple and as high as that. We'd strengthened the team in the close season. We spent a lot of money because we had criticism the previous year that we didn't have any strength in depth. And we went out and bought Wegerle, McNaught, Jury, Wicks. We signed Godden, thinking therefore we'd have a much stronger squad than we had the previous year.
Yes, I think everyone generally felt that Chelsea always had the quality of players last season, but it was the unfortunate injuries and just general circumstances that enabled them not to finish higher than they did. But certainly I think everyone would agree that on paper anyway, this was probably the strongest Chelsea squad since probably the cup-winning sides of the early 70s. Would you agree that the quality of the players were of that calibre?
Well, the quality was there, but you need more than quality. You also need players to knit together. You need a harmony. You need things working. And let's face it, this season, for a number of reasons, it didn't really come off. But it's been constructive because success papers over many cracks of weaknesses or faults which aren't obviously apparent. And when your back's to the wall, as they have been, ours have been in parts of this season, then you find out who your friends are, sorts out the men from the boys, and you get a better idea of people's qualities. And I think in many ways, this season has been worthwhile from that point of view. We now know exactly where we stand, what everybody's strengths and weaknesses are, and I think that we're going to be a better, stronger, quality club for the disappointments of this season.
I think certainly, obviously, if someone had actually asked you before Christmas, before the new season actually started, Ken, come Christmas time you're going to have about 16, 17 points. Would you have recommended they go to the nearest asylum?
No, because everybody's got their own ideas. One thing I did know is when we had 16 or 17 points, I knew we wouldn't finish up in the bottom. Some people recommended I should go to the asylum at that particular stage, but I think I've been proved right.
Yeah, well, certainly we've seen the true Chelsea Blues since Christmas time, and certainly the quality of the performances from Christmas onwards have been quite something to write home about. Are you pleased that now the style of things that we're seeing on the pitch is actually going to stand us in good stead for the coming season?
No, I think we're seeing a lot of improvements, but I think even more improvements are still needed. Without using any excuses, we've had a lot of injuries this season. We've used a large number of players, but then so have Everton. They won the Championship. And if you measure yourself as a successful football club, you have to look at the top club and say, why aren't we there? And if you like, that's how we have to measure everything we do at Chelsea. If we won 3-1, why did we give a goal away? If we won 6-0, did they deserve the nil? It's as simple. And if we lost 1-0, why did we lose? And I think it's very important that we're never complacent and we're never satisfied. I'm not satisfied. I would like to think that the team will be better next year. It's encouraging. Got fired. Quite a few kids have come through. I mean, Roger Freestone has really thrown in the deep end. We didn't think we were going to call him back. We didn't have a keeper 6 weeks ago. Gareth Hall made a 10-minute appearance against Wimbledon. And I would describe him as an intelligent Chopper Harris, but he's 5'10" high. And I think that augurs well when you think he's barely 18. And John Cody, who doesn't like being called Postman Pat, I think he's come through and demonstrated the last few games that he had quality. He's needed a bit of time to adjust. Gordon Jury, of course, is a gem. But again, by mentioning individual players, I'm probably being unfair to the ones that I haven't mentioned, but I'm illustrating the fact that we also know where our weaknesses are, I think, and we're going to do something about it.
Yes, I think certainly from watching from the opposite side of the pitch in the commentary box, what is encouraging And certainly I think this represents the true supporters' view, is that Chelsea do have good quality players, but the quality of the youngsters and the new signings who are actually performing does suggest that better things are in the offering for the Blues.
Well, when we look at our players, we ask us if for alternative, we say, are they going to, if we sign a kid, we say, are they going to be outstanding? If they're not, we don't want them. And if players are available, are they going to be a considerable improvement on what we've got? But what I'd like the supporters to realise is that it's not good. It's not enough to say, go and sign Charlie Bloggs from Flackwell United, because Charlie Bloggs' name not to come, or Flackwell United may want to sell him. Steve Clarke is a perfect example. We've stalked him for 2 years. And so it needs patience to build a good team and to be ready for players when they're there.
Yeah, certainly Steve Clarke, I'd actually never heard of him, I must confess, until he made his first appearance at the Watford match in the Cup. But there clearly is someone who has got quality stamped all over him. Just going back to today's match, because obviously you've played one of the best teams in Europe today. Probably one of the most entertaining matches of the season. How did you see it?
I was very disappointed. We scored 3 good goals and gave away 3 silly ones, quite frankly. And if you like, that is an indication of how I measure my standards. I thought that when all our goals were magnificent, if you think Gordon Dewey's very cleverly flighted free kick, Johnny Bumps' tremendous flying header, and David Speedy's brilliant. He looked up, saw the keeper, and just lobbed it. It was a very difficult ball, that. Pretty magnificent. By comparison, Liverpool's 3 goals were gifts. That's something that we're going to have to learn to get right again, because the year that we won the Second Division Championship, getting goals against Chelsea was like getting hen's teeth.
Yes.
So they're right. It wasn't an entertaining game. It was too entertaining. And we sent Ian Rush away with being a happy man, and we should have sent him away a relieved man, happy to be going to Liverpool, to Juventus, so he doesn't have to play against us next year.
But perhaps the most encouraging thing from today's performance, Ken, is that there was some rather flamboyant style out there today, and Chelsea, as you know, are known for their classy type players and their rather special goals. Obviously, your manager John Hollins probably scored the best goal of all time, as voted on, I think it was ITV some years ago. But certainly Chelsea are known for scoring good goals, and prior to today's match it was difficult to pick out perhaps the best goal of the season. But today we've had 3 absolute gems. From your point of view, what was actually the game of the season and your preferred goal?
Oh, that's a difficult question to ask off the top of my head. So you're probably going to have to cut this bit and then splice it in while I give you an answer. What I think about it, I mean, but I think probably the best goal of the season I can think of was Gordon Dewey's winning goal against Manchester City at Manchester City, because Tony Godden saved the rebound from Peter Barnes, got his toe under it, shot it straight down to the far end. Dewey dummied McCarthy while the ball was in the air, beat him, left him for dead. The ball bounced awkwardly in a way that he could have lost it. Then he just calmly let the ball fall to his feet and slid it past the keeper into the far end of the net. I mean, Dewey is a clinical finisher, very cool, very clever. For me, we have scored some good goals this year. If I had to weigh them all up, I think that was it. Though the goal that Johnny Bumps scored today, what was it? I've forgotten now. Was it Dublin, Dewey, Speedy?
Dewey crossed it, and
yeah, but Dublin started it. Dublin started it. Started from Dublin. Dewey, Speedy was involved, or was it Cody? I can't remember. It all happened so quickly.
It was,
one of the guys blinked and missed the whole damn thing. That's how good it was.
Quick, yeah.
So, best game of the season. Let me think very quickly. Best game of the season. I think probably when we beat Aston Villa 4-1 on Boxing Day, but closely followed by when we beat Queen's Park Rangers 3-1. There was revenge was sweet there, when John McNaught scored those 2 brilliant goals in the first half, one with his right foot and one with his left foot.
Yeah, I must say, I think that particular match was the time when I think everyone realised that Chelsea were back in business in a big way, because that first half performance against Rangers was a little bit special.
I agree with you.
OK, Ken, well, look, what I'd like to ask you is, around about Christmas time, things could have been bright around here at the Bridge, and it seems that the journalists, particularly from the tabloid press, they do seem to take great pleasure in trying to read things into what is actually happening here at the club, which perhaps isn't true at all. But it's very difficult for you perhaps to respond in the way you'd actually like to with the press. But I know they are your sparring partners and have been over the last few years. But how do you view the press these days are actually treating Chelsea Football Club?
Well, they don't do us any favours, but then you see, you've got to remember we're a big club. And if you're a big club, you stand there to be shot at. But it's not just Chelsea. I mean, if you like, they hounded out Graham Turner from Aston Villa, and now they've hounded out Billy McNeil from Aston Villa. They hounded out Billy McNeil from Manchester City. What was his name? Don Howe from Arsenal. Peter Shreves from Spurs. And that's what they're entitled to do, I suppose. And in the Fleet Street War, they get more and more desperate for stories. And really, we're in a no-win situation, because if we refuse to comment, then they say you are unavailable for comment. Mm-hmm. The implication being you wouldn't talk to them, which is quite true. And whatever, if you talk to them for 20 minutes, they can pick on one particular phrase and twist it all out of context. But I think what you've got to look at, if you read the tabloids, then you have to read them with that interesting giggle, nice page 3, but don't take it seriously. It's as simple as that. Although I say it myself, believe what you read in the Bridge News, believe what you read in the Chelsea programme, and also believe what you read in the serious papers, because they write stories and they check out their facts, whereas the tabloids, anything will do to sell the circulation. But, I mean, on the other hand, it's the fans' fault if they read these papers. If they buy the papers and read them, well, they pay his opinion, takes their choice. All I wish they wouldn't do is then write to me, waste my time writing in saying don't sell Charlie blogs when we've never indicated we're going to sell Charlie blog just because the Sun said they're going to.
Yeah. Well, tell me, Ken, just going on to the current major project, which is obviously uppermost in your mind, which is the Save the Bridge campaign. Obviously, we've read an awful lot in the press about that, and there again, perhaps you weren't given the fair treatment perhaps you deserved for this sort of bold step forward. But how's progress with that particular project?
Well, let's deal with the press bit first of all. I think it's fair. In actual fact, we got a pretty good press with one or two exceptions, but I think it took their breath away. And the idea of a little football club raising £15 million within their own resources in 2 years, on the face of it, does seem outrageous or audacious. But it is achievable, and it will be achieved. And all these things take time to get going. I mean, first of all, you announce it and people go away and think about it. So you get a few emotive responses immediately. So you get a trickle of money. Then it becomes a stream. It's now a stream. But what's more important, you get loads and loads of people having ideas. But if you have an idea on Thursday, it may take a month or 2 months for you to feel the effect of it. But all I can say is we've got enough stuff in the pipeline. I'm confident that one way or the other we will buy our property and we'll redevelop it and we'll be at the Bridge long after most of the people watching this video will be dead and buried. Hopefully, well, not actually scattered on the pitch. Helps the drainage.
OK. Ken, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and things do look good for next season. Are you looking forward with optimism to the future? I know we've got to have a good summer holiday to get this one behind us, but how do you genuinely view things now?
Well, at the present time, I've had enough of football. But about next Wednesday, I should be wondering when the next match is. I think we're starting with a better squad than we started. We're starting with a better squad next season than we started this season. I know Holly's got one or two other items in the farm, a couple of things in the pipeline, and I think that we're going to give a good account of ourselves. We want to win something. The fans want to win something. How do you think I feel about wanting to win something?
I have John Hollins with me, who's kindly agreed to give us his impressions of the season. But before we actually talk about the season proper, perhaps, John, you'd be good enough to just cast your mind back to August time and give us your view in terms of how you actually saw the season in prospect. New players, new season, you just finished in the top 6, you'd won the full Members' Cup. How did you view the coming campaign?
Always with optimism, never with pessimism. I always look at it that we're going to do well. But it does depend on how you start. We started with 3 draws. Again, we had a few injuries in the wrong departments, but that's as the season unfolded. Injuries seem to be the story of our lives. It's a good job I did buy 5 players at the start of the season, because in the end, up to date, today we've used 31 players, which when Liverpool won the championship 3 seasons ago, they used 15 players. So you can understand the situation, and injuries do take a big part. I think looking back to the start of the season, people put us already in the top 3 or 4 press. They asked a lot of people, and you're only in the position you are on what you perform on the pitch, not what people say. There's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of wishful thinking by people, and we haven't performed on the pitch.
I must ask you this. If someone actually said to you at the beginning of the season, John, you're going to win away at Tottenham Hotspur, Nottingham Forest and Manchester United, would you be happy with that assessment?
I think we would have been, because at that time I think we do expect, when I start off the season, I expect to beat everybody. And as I say, it's a game of 90 minutes. You finish up with what you've got. Those games in particular, each of those matches we played extremely well and lost 3 players in each match. So I could never really put out the same team 2 in a row, 3 in a row. So it was. So I was pleased with those results, but it was the other results I was more concerned with.
Well, the point I was going to make is that if someone had actually said in your wildest dreams, could you believe the possibility of losing to Wimbledon twice and Charlton down here at the Bridge, you'd be a little bit surprised not to have got maximum points out of both of those clubs.
Yeah, but you don't always get what you deserve, and football is a funny business. It's a serious business. It's life and death to a lot of people. It's when supporters go home, they take their problems home, especially if we've not had a very good match. And this season they've taken a lot of problems home, but so have I. And we've come through it, and no matter who we've played, at the end of it we've finished in a position that doesn't make us go down, but it's not good enough.
And do you feel, with the new players that you have introduced over the recent months, certainly Chelsea's season, would you believe, really started from Christmas onwards? And the players that you've seen are the true Chelsea players of the future, who have performed since that time?
Well, they've all performed and performed well, but again, it's a new season coming up, and there's a lot of things can happen in the summer. And I just look at the season that's gone. That's it, finished. Never look back. I look forward now, and I shall look to people that want to work hard for Chelsea and get us to the top of the league.
It was nice for you today. We've just played Liverpool, and we've got a reasonable result on the day where perhaps do you feel you should have won today?
Being 3 times in front, you should kill people off like that, even though they're who they are. But we had enough opportunities to put them away. Yes, and I'm very disappointed.
And John, could you tell me about really 2 Chelsea favourite players, Mike Hazard and Dave Speedy? I know if the press lead us to believe what is actually going on in the club is to be true, would you expect to see both these players performing as Chelsea first-team players next season?
Well, I'll give you the same answer I give to the press. I don't talk about transfers of players. They've got contracts to work with this club, and they're considerably. One's a considerably long time, and the other one is 2 years. And that's the way I look at football. Contracts are contracts.
Okay. Well, I know I asked you earlier, John, do you actually watch these videos? But the first time I actually realised that you did watch the videos was through reading a cutting in The Guardian, where I think the heading was titled Video Nasties. I think when we just about hit possibly rock bottom, having lost at home to Charlton when they had the one shot of the match. And there was a comment that John Hollins is buried away watching the video. He can't believe it's as bad as it is. Was it that bad?
Well, the video was a good one, but the match wasn't particularly good. But the camera doesn't lie, and when you see the continual film week in, week out, it does. It solves a lot of problems that you can't actually. You see it quickly once, and you don't get the benefit of seeing it flashed across the screen until you look at it in the cold light of day, Sunday or Monday morning or wherever you watch it. So they're invaluable, and it works. It works.
Well, John, at the beginning of the season, for my money, the match I enjoyed enormously, for the wrong reason, of course, was the match against Nottingham Forest, which was an absolute spectacle in the first half. From your point of view, at that time, did you feel that the team were playing well?
Well, again, we were 2-1 up. You can only get in front in games, and you've got to maintain that. And being in front just that once there is an opportunity to press home how good you are. But we didn't, and we lost goals quite quickly, and it finished up a heavy defeat. But you learn from it.
A good match for the Supporters' Point. I know we got on the wrong end of a defeat that day, but quite something to watch. Finally, John, your best goal of the season, if you can recall, down here at the Bridge, and also your views on what you think was the best match that Chelsea featured in at the Bridge this season.
I'd say the one that's just finished, and the second goal in particular, second and third goal. You won't see better goals than that, and especially against defences of that quality.
And the new lads who are coming through, particularly the youngsters, the Colin Wests and the John Codys and the Roy Wedgerleys. I haven't mentioned them all, obviously John Cody. How do you view the future in terms of the youngsters who are coming through, alongside the new big signings, of course?
Well, the future looks good. The future is always in the hands of the players, not in my hands. It's in the hands of the players. If they want to play and they want to get those positions, they've got to fight hard to get them. And it doesn't take 5 minutes, and that's the name of the game. You've got to work hard, and you've got to get in there. You've got to maintain a high standard, not just be a 5-minute wonder.
Okay, well, John, thank you very much for your time. All the very best of luck for next season. You deserve a good rest this summer. It's been a tough time, but on balance, I think it's worked out very well, given the position we were in around about Christmas time.
So that just about completes this first attempt, and I do stress it was an attempt, to do the first annual yearbook of Chelsea on tape. We hope you've enjoyed the end product. Certainly some of those goals throughout the season, when you look back, were a little bit special, and we feel we've got every good reason to look forward with the greatest of optimism for next season. We hope you'll join us then. This is New Sonic Creations signing off once more. We'll be back with you sometime in the near future.